Hello, how are you doing? Just wanted to jump in and talk to you this evening about delegation. It is one of those things that's going to make a massive difference to your business, but it's also something that I know we get really stuck with. And actually, as a bookkeeper, you might even find that your clients find it hard to delegate. So I think there are tips on both sides of this, and I just wanted to dive into how to delegate for the first time successfully and manage that challenge of starting to get things off of your plate and feeling comfortable with it, because I do think that there is a trust element that comes with this, of like trusting ourselves that the work's still going to be done to the same standard, but also trusting the people around us that they can do what they need to do. Before that, I just want to remind you that at the moment we have some great bonuses running if you're thinking of joining us in the 6-month success program. So please act fast if you want to be part of that. Our team are available if you want to jump on a call, and I'll share the details underneath this video. So I just want to dive into the essentials of mastering delegation. So I think this is something that's really important if you want to boost your productivity and free up your time. In fact, when Joe and I are speaking to our members, particularly, it's something that comes up a lot for us when we're working in our mastermind. We talk about how important it is to see yourself as the leader of your business and remove yourself as much as possible from the day-to-day. And that sounds really counterintuitive, because the reason you've probably started your business is that you know you're really good at doing the thing that you do. And when you start a business and then suddenly you're told, well, actually, that isn't the thing you're going to do day to day anymore, or in fact, as soon as possible, it seems a bit crazy. But as that entrepreneurial mind, the best thing you can do, and I know this from experience from running businesses for the last few years, the best thing you can do is actually to direct the activity that you want to be happening, because you've got that vision of what you want it to look like. That's the passion and the reason why you started this business in the first place. So we've got to learn to delegate. And when I think about who those people are in the team that we need to bring in, day one, I would be thinking about admin support. There are things you can automate, which is a video for another day. There are things you can automate. There are things that other people can do for you. And also bookkeeping support, because you need to not be doing every single thing. Your job actually is to be the face of your business and to go out there and get clients. If you can do that and you can get that work delivered in the way that you'd like it to be delivered, you are able to scale. But it is a skill. And if you come to this thinking, I'm not a manager or I'm not a leader, I never wanted to grow a big business, or any of those kind of narratives that regularly hold bookkeepers back, I completely understand, but I want to give you some tips to try and break that down, because I think you might be holding yourself back. So let's talk about, how do we delegate? So the first thing is actually just understanding the need to delegate. I'm definitely that person who thought I had to do everything myself. Trust is hard. When you're a bit of a perfectionist with things, it is really difficult to feel that it's okay to delegate. I think that often, if you when you have that moment and you want to delegate something, but it doesn't kind of work out how you expected it to work out, and then you end up doing it yourself anyway. Of course, there is that pressure on you in that moment when you start to delegate. But if you can get that right and you can hand that process over, and you can deal with that bit and do the bit of training that makes sure it's done in the way you want, to the standard you want, with the outcomes that you want, you are saving yourself time in the future. So we need to recognize that delegation is really crucial if we're going to grow and be more efficient. And we've got to stop having that mindset of, I would be quicker just to do it myself. We've got to get that out of there. So let's do that. The next thing is to identify tasks to delegate. Now, there are lots of ways you can think about it, but I think the simplest way to identify what it is you're going to delegate is to think about the things you're doing over and over again. I think that as bookkeepers and accountants, we're people who actually are very comfortable with a process. We like the black and white. We like to work through, and I get it. I'm a busy mum. I've got kids at home. Sometimes I just want to sit behind the computer and key things in and just listen to some music and tap, tap, tap. I really get it. That repetition is almost soothing, but that isn't the best value for your time. That isn't the best way to get return on your time. So those kind of tasks which are repetitive and predictable, they are the things that are most easily handled by somebody else. And if you can start to identify those pieces of work, those daily tasks that keep coming up, that are repeated over and over again, they're the first ones to start delegating. The next thing to do is, the next thing to think about is to think about who's the right person for the job. So this is hard. I think that if you haven't managed a team before, or you never thought you were going to build a business that was going to require a team, choosing people is probably one of the biggest barriers you're going to face. I speak to people who don't even set up, I know we're in the UK, so maybe they will set up a type of business that isn't really fit to grow. So for example, maybe you would set up as a sole trader instead of a limited company, sort of keeping yourself small, almost stopping yourself from wanting to go out and ever bring employees in. Like, people will stop themselves by those kind of actions. So we need to really think about setting ourselves up to grow, if that's what you want to do. If you want to have people in the team, make sure that the business will easily allow you to do that, and you're not going to need to make changes and, you know, all the admin that comes with that later on. And then start thinking about who's the right person to bring into the business, who's going to be the right person for the job. Now, the right team member, this is an interesting one, because in the bookkeeping space at the moment, there's lots of talk of there being a skills gap, it being very difficult to recruit or to find the right people. So if you are a bookkeeper, just to say your skills are highly valued right now and you're really needed. But you need to get yourself out there. Another conversation for another day. If you're looking for somebody to come into your team, you might decide, and it might be a good decision actually, to decide that you don't bring someone in who has exactly the same skills as you. Because I think when we're looking at that to-do list and we're saying, right, these are the things that I'm doing repetitively, those are the things I need for my plate, I just need someone who's kind of like me and thinks like me, because then I'm going to trust that I've got someone in the team who's going to do it the way I do it and the way I expect it, and, you know, I'll be able to manage that. Actually, bringing somebody in who has a different complementary skill set can be really helpful, because those things, you know, that's great, but do you need two lots of that? Would it actually be better for you to share those skills with that person who's coming in? And, you know, if they maybe have a customer services background or something else that's really going to help your team where there's another gap, you will then benefit from that. So I would really think about, is the right person for the job really the person I think is the right person for the job, or is there someone else that has a different skill set who would be really good to put in this position for some other reason, maybe to do with the way that they're going to communicate with the team in a way that maybe you can't. So start thinking about who that person is. I think it's really helpful to understand the different personalities in your team. We do a lot of work around understanding what kind of person you are, how you respond to things, how you organize yourself, how you like to think, and how you like to work through different kinds of tasks. And if you know who you are and how you respond well, and if you know the people in your team and how they respond well, and you're able to utilize that in terms of delegating the right tasks to the right people, you might be surprised by who ends up doing that activity that you've been doing over and over again. But it can be really interesting as your team grows to slot people into the specific slots that you need them in. So try and choose the right person for the job, and it might not be the person that you think it is. The next step for delegating is making sure that you've got really clear communication and expectations as well. It can be very tempting to want to delegate something and say, I want you to go away and do it exactly like this. So guidelines are really helpful. Videos, Loom videos, Zoom clips, whatever you use, training documents are really helpful. But from a motivation point of view, depending on the personality type of the person you're bringing into the business, those processes might not be very helpful, because that person might not respond well to a list of instructions, or they just might be someone who likes to figure out how they're going to do things for themselves. So depending on the kind of person you're working with, think about, are they going to respond well to a list of instructions? Do they need me to sit next to them while we're working through it? Do they need to see me do that piece of work? Or do they just need to be told what the outcome is that we're working towards, and do they need to find their own way to do that? And how am I going to manage that feeling? You know, if I've brought this person in and I've given them this task because I know they're the right person for it, how can I make sure that there's the best outcome for both of us, where they feel that they have a level of autonomy and I feel like I can trust that person? And I think that usually comes down to setting out at the beginning what it is you're expecting them to do, having ongoing communication, and also setting expectations of what the handoff is. So this is where that task starts. Expect this to happen. I'd like you to go away and do that. And then when you've done it, I want you to come back to me and give me this very specific checklist list of stuff that shows me that that piece of work's been done. And then I can, like, going back to the trust of being able to delegate, I can then trust that that piece of work's been done in the way that I would expect, and that's my kind of sign off that it's done. So clear expectations, clear communication, make sure that you're available for people, and then being able to trust, being able to let go is going to be so much easier. I am somebody who really has struggled with delegation, to the point that my VA has actually said to me, can you just please give me something to do, like show me what you're doing so I can work out what it is? Because sometimes I think you don't realize what you could be delegating, and you might need that sort of third party to almost guide you and say, well, actually, do you know, I could do that. And that can be a useful way to get that delegation sort of started as well. So key points: how do we start to delegate for the first time? First of all, just understand why it's important. Secondly, think about what those tasks are that could be delegated. So just start writing a list of, what am I doing today? What are the things I'm doing over and over again that someone else could do? Think about who is going to be the right person for the job. Why are they the right person for the job? Where am I not so great at this? And what's the skill set that's kind of going to actually make this work even better than I could do it? Make sure you're communicating. You've got a process note. You both know what the expectations are, and then from there you'll be able to trust and let go. So I hope you found that helpful. That's just a little insight to the kind of things we're discussing with the bookkeepers in our community. If you want to be part of one of our programs, at the moment we've got some great offers on our 6-month success program. You can find out all about it by going to sixfigurebookkeeper.com. Have a great evening. Bye.